just a man.
Well, a pleasant good morning to you listeners and viewers, and welcome to another CCG Hour. I'm smiling. I am very happy to have to get the opportunity to keep my word. So I'm going right off because just a few weeks ago we had Mr. Tamar from the Met Office, and I am so blessed this morning to have him. So welcome to the program, listeners and viewers, and good morning, Mr. Tamar, and welcome.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so glad that you can come back so quickly. That surprised me. I was like, oh, he's ready to come back already. I was happy.
Well, how to say, catch me when you can.
I agree. I definitely agree.
But also, it's part of our ongoing public awareness drive too, because together with NAGMA, it's always good to inform the public of what happens behind the scenes. So it's all in for public education.
Yes, and that is what we are already doing here. So for those of you who may be like, but you just say Mr. Tamar and she start talking. Who is this guy? Well, what happens is this. A few weeks ago, we had Mr. Tamar from the Meteorological Office at Point Celine. And he so graciously went through with us a whole lot of what the Met Office does. And trust me, we learned a lot. I know for sure that I learned a lot. And because we knew for sure that we needed to get a lot more information concerning what is it that the Met Office does. And in particular, as we have the hurricane season, we really wanted to be able to capture that. And so that is why, I'm really, really happy that we can have him so soon after. So Mr. Tamar and the Met Office, of course, works along with NADMA. And we usually have NADMA here on this program at least once a month. But of course, as I said, we have been able to have a program like this in two two segments, almost one after the other. And so, as I said, that is why I'm really, really happy about it. Because those of you who caught the program a few weeks ago now can come and look at this one, which is almost like a part 2, instead of us having to wait a whole month for that to happen. All right. So, Mr. Tamar, as it relates to the season this year, I know we started that, and we definitely didn't get the kind of chance to go into it. And I'm really glad that you can again be here. So let's start right off with that, because I know that you have a whole lot of information to share.
Okay, well, the 2021 Atlantic Caribbean Basin hurricane season officially started on June 1st, as usual. 2020 was a record-breaking season, okay, where we had something like 30 systems. 30 named systems occurring, which was awesome. Okay? And we hope that there's not another active season as that again.
Okay, but I need to, as you said, named season. I know I'm cutting you maybe a little bit short and early, but we talk about these names. Is there a difference when it's not named? Is it that it's not a big system or not something to be concerned about?
No.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about that as you go into the season.
Okay, yeah, sure. Now, a name is given to a developed cyclone. Now, we have, in the tropics, we have different weather systems occurring. So you might have an area of disturbed weather. You might have a tropical wave. But as long as a cyclone is developed, a cyclone is formed, okay, it is given, first of all, a number, and then if it gets to the stage of a storm, it is given a name. Let me explain a little further. Now, the first signs of a cyclone developing is what we call a tropical depression.
Right.
Okay, so that's when you have wind speeds of about 35 miles an hour. You have what we call a closed circulation. You can actually see something forming there.
Right.
Okay? So that's a tropical depression. Okay? So of course that is monitored very closely. Now, if the conditions are right and it develops, okay, where wind speeds get like 40, 45 miles an hour, then it becomes a tropical storm. We categorize it as a tropical storm, and it is given a name.
Oh, so from the time it hits a tropical storm, that is when it gets a name.
It is given a name. So the last one we had was Tropical Storm Elsa. Okay, so it gets the name Tropical Storm Elsa. Now, if conditions are right and it develops further, it strengthens, it is intensifies. It becomes a hurricane when it reaches winds. When the wind speed, the sustained wind speed, is 75 miles an hour, then it becomes a hurricane.
Right, but it will still maintain the name.
You still maintain the name, but it will be called Hurricane Elsa.
Right, if it comes to that. What would be these right conditions? Because you mentioned that twice. You say if the conditions are right and it continues to develop.
Okay. Well, imagine you have a plant. Okay. You put a seed in, you water it, fertilize it, it germinates, it starts to grow. Okay. Now, it must need water, it must need sunshine, it must need nutrients for it to grow. The same thing happens with a tropical cyclone. Okay. And remember, the term cyclone is the general name for all these organized disturbance.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah?
I thought it was a different name for
cyclone.
Hurricane also. Okay.
Depression is a cyclone, a storm is a cyclone, a hurricane is a cyclone. Okay. Now, I remember that's what we call them in our part of the world. In Asia, so they call them typhoons.
Right.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Same
Just
thing.
a different
Same
term.
thing.
Okay.
Just a different term. Okay. So conditions have to be right for it to grow. Now, what are the conditions? Now, first of all, it will start with an area of disturbed weather. Now, we are in the tropics. The tropics by nature, the atmospheric conditions are what we call, it is conditionally unstable. That means because of the heat and the moisture that characterizes the tropics, okay, you always have this up and down movement with the clouds and the moisture, and things build from that.
Okay.
Now, you must have abnormal sea surface temperature. Now, it gets its energy from the sea. Okay, the sea surface temperature is one of the crucial things, because that is one of the reasons why they can have this prediction of how active a season may be, because by constant monitoring of the sea surface temperature, okay, once the temperature is above normal, it is like fuel for a fire. Okay, so this year and last year, temperatures were above normal. So that's one important ingredient. Okay, that's why you don't find hurricanes occurring in colder places.
Okay.
No.
Always wondered that.
No, you have so you have sea surface temperature, warm sea surface temperature, that gives it the energy. Okay? Now, once it starts to develop, a development means the growing of the clouds, basically. Okay, you have the clouds moving up. I don't know if you ever look at a cloud, especially the big cloud. You always see it like smoke, always evolving, always like rolling. Okay. So you wonder sort of activity happening. Okay, it's like it's growing. Okay. Now, once it is growing, okay, you want the wind conditions to be favorable. I won't say favorable. You want the wind to be moving in one particular direction. Now, in the atmosphere, you have different layers, and the wind behaves differently at different layers. Okay? So in our area, our winds generally move from east to west, okay, at the lower levels in the atmosphere. And at higher levels, they move from west to east. Okay? Now, in the summertime, okay, that layer of easterly winds, or that layer of winds moving from east to west, is much deeper. Okay? So within that deeper layer now is where you will find the cloud movement happening. Okay? Now, if you have the winds coming from the opposite direction, it's like you're cutting off the head of the plant all the time. Okay? So it stifles the growth.
Right.
Okay? So you want a deep layer. Okay? So where the cloud can grow and grow and grow. Okay? Now, on top of that, of course, you must have moisture. And as I said, moisture is part of the characteristic of what makes us tropic.
Yeah.
So you have moisture.
So we have that
And
already.
so you have all of these coming together. Now, if we were in a mid-class, I would go into other dynamic details, but just for the general public, okay? So these are the three basic things you need
Right.
for conditions to be right. It's just like a plant. You need the moisture. You need the nutrients. Okay? You need good soil. So for a storm, for convection to take place, okay, you need all of these happening, and this happened over a pretty wide area. Now remember, we're talking about the atmosphere. Okay, so you're talking maybe a area of maybe a few hundred square miles, because
Right. Yeah.
it's the vastness of the atmosphere you're talking about. Okay, so these conditions now they are nice, and you find the clouds growing. You have thunderstorm
But be
activities.
nice for the storm.
Well, of course. Well, yes, we have these conditions occurring. Now, what happened? The next thing, what happens is because of all of these activities occurring, you will find the pressure. The last time we did a lot about pressure. The pressure within there will start to fall.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, when the pressure starts to fall, now it starts to dictate the wind pattern. Okay. Now, keep in mind, we have to keep in mind the basic scientific theory that winds move from an area of high pressure to low pressure. Okay? So as the pressure start to fall, it is low pressure relative to the surrounding areas. So the wind will start to rush in. Now, because of the rotation of the earth, okay, the wind will rush in a circular motion, getting into it. Okay? So that's how we get that circulation.
And then when you see those satellite pictures, you see that circular thing. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So the wind from all over is trying to rush in. It wouldn't rush in straight, but it start going in there. So that's how we get that circulation. And as systems get better, as conditions get better, okay, the pressure would fall, and that would cause the wind speed to increase.
Oh my.
Increase, until we get to a category 5.
Oh my word.
Okay.
Wow.
Now the whole system itself will move from east to west. Generally, will move from east to west, and unless it is steered by some other pressure system, which occurs through within its path, but generally in our neck of the woods, it moves from east to west. Okay? So you have a circulation, right? And within that you have a lot of clouds, a lot of convection, a lot of rainfall, thunderstorms. And that is what a cyclone
And of
is,
course,
right?
and once, as you say, the conditions continue.
And the condition.
Right.
And at this time of the year, okay, conditions are right for it, okay? Because it's hot, a lot of moisture, okay? And as I said, the wind layer, which we call shearing, is conducive for the development.
Wow.
So putting all those ingredients together,
We're looking at the potential.
we're
right.
looking at the potential.
And you said that there were 36.
There were 30 named.
30 named ones last year.
Yes. Actually, we normally use about 23 letters of the alphabet, okay, because they go A, B, all,
Yeah, well, now you're putting past the alphabet.
all the way down, yes. So when we when the English alphabet is exhausted, we start using the Greek.
Are you serious? Okay, then that's interesting.
We start using the Greek alphabet. So you have alpha, beta, gamma, and so forth.
So after the 20, how much ever you used last year, then you went in. So then
Then
what
you go
happens
into-
for this year? Is it that you start over again
You
from
start
A?
over. You start over again from
But
A.
how do you all come up? When I say you all, I mean when the Met community. How do they come up with names? I've never heard of a Hurricane Wendy. I mean, I'd like, why not?
Yes, actually.
Maybe there was.
Yes,
Well,
actually.
maybe I wasn't
there
born
was
yet.
a-
I don't know.
No.
I was.
No, I think.
I think they leave out
pretty
Wendy,
recently there was a Wendy, or Wendy is on the list of names.
Maybe she's just on the list.
In people's lists. Yeah. How they are
But I mean,
named?
how do you, is it just random?
No,
What?
no, the folks at the Hurricane Center in Miami, where it is the focal point for our region, the Atlantic region.
Yeah.
They came up they normally come up with the names. There was an interview I saw once with one of the directors, and he said, well, it's his job to come up with the names, and he asked family, friends, co-workers,
so yes,
give me
okay,
some
with
names.
Okay,
It's just a matter
all right.
of identifying this
I
system.
know, and I can understand that.
And because
And of course, it must be in the alphabet beginning with the letter, right?
and because in our region we have both English and Spanish speaking residents, okay?
Yes.
The names are both normally either English name or Spanish names,
Okay,
okay? One or two French names.
Interesting. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there was Eduardo,
Yeah.
Jose, a lot of. Yeah,
True.
So,
I never thought of that though, because but then again, even if the names are there, of course, many of them don't reach to the place where they actually affect us as much. So I suppose they don't really pay much attention to it.
We don't.
Yeah,
we pay attention to them because the thing is like 2019 we had a pretty active season, but a lot of the systems did not affect land.
right.
Yeah, a lot of them stayed in the ocean, which was a good thing.
Okay.
Well, not for shipping.
Well, I
but
was just about to ask. Yeah, I was just about to say,
You know?
it's good for us on land, but then
yes, good for the territories, okay, but it did not affect land, or as we would say, landfall was minimal.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what happened, and 2020 was record-breaking year. As I say, 30 name
30 is
system.
a lot. Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot. Okay. 2021, again, the prediction is for another active season, above average season. Okay. Now, every year, the seasonal forecasters put out a forecast of how many systems they think will be formed within the year. Okay. Now, in our region, there are two organizations that put out that issue forecasts, and they are very much the same. Okay. And they have both agreed that 2021 will be another active season.
Oh boy.
Okay. So let me just give you some stats. Colorado State University is one of the premier institutions for in the Western Hemisphere for tropical studies. Okay, they predict 17 named storms, okay, of which 8 would become hurricane.
Oh boy. Okay.
And 4 major hurricanes.
Out of the 8.
Out of the 8. Okay. Okay. Now that's high.
Yes.
That's high.
Of course.
Because the average is around 12 to 13 storms. Okay. Now, and the average, you're going back a 30-year average. Okay. So.
Right.
Okay. National Hurricane Center in Miami. They have 13 to 20 named storms, 6 to 10 hurricanes, 3 to 5 major hurricanes. So you see,
around the same. Yeah.
it's basically the same. Okay. Now, 2021 has started, and 2021 is the 7th consecutive year that we've had storm formation before June 1st. Okay? 7 consecutive year. Okay. Again, this is another record because it just shows us that things are changing, and the debate is whether we should now move this the official start of the season forward. Okay. Okay. But again, this is a decision that has a lot of implications. So they are still debating it behind closed doors. Okay. Yeah. So this is the 7th year. Here we had Tropical Storm Anna in May. Okay? Now, running concurrently, and I may also say that it is not only in our area that we have these storms and hurricanes occurring. all around the globe, okay, that is the same latitude within the tropics as us.
Right, as us, yeah.
It's happening too, okay? In the Pacific,
Oh,
for
yes.
instance,
Yeah,
I mean,
they have some.
they are much more active than us because there's a much larger body of water there where we can enjoy heat from. Their season is much more active than us. Okay, I mean they normally 3-4 systems ahead of us. Okay? But the thing is with them, the good thing about them is that a lot of these systems form over the open water, and they die
And they
over
die
alone.
right there, right.
Okay, but when you hear they hit land, I mean,
Well, they vex. It's
they are
bad.
quite dangerous, and just like us, the people in these regions is a way of life for them too.
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen documentaries where the people they build their houses a certain way. They build their houses with weak roofs. They say anything, the roof is easy to go. You can always build back the roof in a year. You know,
Right,
so
right.
so they have come to terms to live with it.
Yeah.
Okay, just as we have come to terms to live
True.
with it. Okay, at the moment, okay, we have had 4 storms and 1 hurricane in our area, and our area again we mean the northern Atlantic, the northern tropical Atlantic, Caribbean Sea, Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
That is our
lower,
area.
and that's a small area compared.
That is a small area
that's
compared.
small.
Okay, so we had 4 storms, 1 hurricane. Okay, this far to date. In the Pacific, they have had 4 storms, 2 hurricanes. Okay?
Right.
Okay? So they are ahead of us already, which is the norm. Okay, so the season is predicted to be another active one, and it is our hope that our nation is ready for it, because the thing is, we can't do anything about it. It's a way of life. We just have to accept. We can't stop it from coming, but we can do what we can to help survive, to make life easier during and after.
Controversial question. Go ahead.
Yes, sure.
People usually speak, and of course you watch a lot of sci-fi movies, and they usually speak about man-made storms. Do we really have that?
No.
So it's just for entertainment?
Just for entertainment. I must say, however, there is a thing called weather modification.
Okay.
Okay, and this is something still in its embryonic stages. What the scientists have been able to do was to create some rainfall. Okay, by going into an aircraft and trying to drop some, I think it's silver oxide in the atmosphere, which will help the moisture to cool this to form raindrops and then fall.
Right.
Okay, but that is a very expensive and not a very sustainable practice.
And of
but
course,
I guess
that was
they're just doing it to show that it can be done.
It can be done.
Okay,
but that would be to help areas like if we have
specific areas
drought
precisely.
and so forth.
Okay. But as to go to the scale as a
What we
storm or
talk-
something,
yeah.
no. Because actually, the force of a hurricane, thus far, it has been measured to be the most powerful force of nature. In terms of all of the natural occurring disasters, tsunami, volcano, earthquake, okay, the force of a hurricane is the strongest of them all. Okay? Because you could imagine what sort of power it would need to rotate an air
I know, right? The kind of
at
energy
that
you have to get
speed,
to do that. Yeah.
at that speed
What
for
are you
over
using?
that distance. You know,
Yeah. What are you going to
Is
use
my
for
bo-
that to happen?
it's mind-boggling. You can't do it. Okay, as I was speaking to some youngsters at a forum a few years ago, you know, I said, there was a fan in the corner of the room, and I asked the person at the other end, "Can you
Yeah,
feel
you
the
don't
effects of the
even-
fan?"
Yeah, nah.
I said, "No." I said, "Okay, All right.
And a lot of times it's a powerful fan. Yeah.
A powerful fan.
Yeah.
Okay. So imagine what sort of motor you would need to generate.
Yeah, the kind of energy to generate.
Yeah.
Just even for a building.
Just for a building or,
Yeah.
or just for a room, and then you have to think about one
Open
island.
space.
Yes,
Yeah.
and from here to whatever level that was.
Yeah, I get you. All right. Thanks for clearing that up. No, because sometimes, I like my share of science. I'm not, scientist material, but I just like science on the whole. And I mean, I've taught it at primary level. And so you see certain things and you think that, of course, a lot of concepts that are coming out in movies is because, you kind of want to test, and you know that they do that, they test in the waters kind of to see what will people's impact be, how will people react to this concept, whatnot. So, of course, well, we know this is a trend, you see it in these movies where, oh my God, these cataclysmic things are happening. So, but I just honestly wanted to know if at all, but yeah, that explanation you're giving, I won't be asking that question again, because it really does make sense. The kind of force you would need to make that. Yeah.
Yes, we can't generate that kind of power. We can't generate that kind of power,
Interesting. All right, great. So we're going to take a break because, interestingly, we've been chatting for quite a while, but I know how it goes. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. We will just tie up what we started on the season, and then we will look toward what it is the Met Office is really doing, how you all work already to respond to, especially an active season like this one that we are planning to have, right?
Yeah.
So let's take a quick break and we are going to be right back.
You are my strength.
Home is easy as 1, 2, 3.
Thinking about your new home? Think easy. Think a Republic Bank Home Easy Loan. Think affordable. Think convenience. Think Republic.
Home is easy as 1, 2, 3. Republic makes home easy.
Wow, that was such a breeze.
Own your home with ease.
So whether laying that first brick or purchasing an existing home, we've got you covered. Republic Bank will get you those keys hassle-free in no time.
Home is easy as 1, 2, 3.
Drop by any one of our 8 locations today. Getting your new home is easy with Republic Bank.
Republic Bank. We're the one for you.
You are my strength.
Welcome back and thank you very much for joining us. For those of you who may just have joined us, I am chatting this morning with Mr. Tamar from the Met Office, forecaster from the Met Office in Grenada, and Point Saline, Grenada. Oh, I got a good lesson on that last time. Because of course we have to be very particular because it's from that particular station. So for those of you who were with us, you would have heard him mention, well, more than mention, explain to us that we are in for another active season, right? Another active hurricane season is forecasted for 2021. 2020 was extremely active, and we are poised, apparently, more than likely, based on the conditions, for another season that is maybe equally as active. Well, we don't know for sure, but there's a big possibility. Yeah. So there's a question that I have been wondering about, and well, I certainly think about it whenever we have bad weather. Just how soon after one, especially when a hurricane passes with kind of intensity that we just don't want to have to consider, and you're already trying to pick up the pieces, and you thinking, okay, is it that because a hurricane just passed and so we could just concentrate on trying to build back, or is it that we now have to still be in alert mode? How soon after can you make that kind of prediction? How soon after one big one, especially the big ones, that you can expect, or is it that you could take it easy a little bit because, I don't know, is it that the skies cool down a little bit so then it has to build back up again, or can you just expect one just as bad shortly after?
Okay, that's a good question and a common question. The answer is that we just don't know.
Right.
Okay, but I'll say this. Okay, there is always constant monitoring of our active area, and again for us that is the tropical Atlantic, not tropical Atlantic, the Caribbean Sea the Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
Okay. So it is quite common to have more than one area of disturbed weather. Okay, and when we say disturbed weather, we mean some kind of organized thunderstorm and convection. It is quite common to have tropical waves, active tropical waves coming one after the other. For example, like today, we have about 3 tropical waves coming across the Atlantic. Okay, some are more active than others. Okay, I want to say active, I mean producing rainfall and thunderstorm activities. Okay, some are more active than the others. Okay, now everyone has the potential to develop.
Of course.
Okay, so when one develops, or if a system, a cyclone has developed, goes through this stage of depression, storm, if it reaches a hurricane, okay, it does not mean that that will be the central, the central person of our region. As long as conditions
All right.
all right, maybe 500 miles to the east or 1,000 miles to the east, there, another one will develop. No, it is quite a common thing to have 2 and 3 systems at the same time.
We don't want to have to hear.
Okay, no, it happens.
But
it
yeah,
happens.
yeah,
it
yeah,
happens,
yeah.
and it is quite common. Okay, now the question is, does one interfere with the other? Oh, okay, and that, of course, is still an area of study.
Right.
Okay, now we have found out of, we have seen that that one system can actually catch up to another system and join another system.
Oh my goodness.
It has happened before.
And then that produces...
that is called the Fujimura technique, the Fujimura syndrome. Okay, named after a famous Japanese meteorologist who actually
Who came up with it. Right.
was studying, and that has happened before. Okay, and again, it has happened not only in our region, but in the Pacific and the Indian Ocean, where that experience these summertime events. Okay, so that has happened. Okay, now if you remember 2018 or 2019, when we had Maria and Irene. Okay.
Yes, those two.
They both came
Yeah.
just a few, about 2 weeks apart, and followed almost the same path. Okay, so it is not uncommon. What happens? The major thing that happened in terms of maybe not deterring to a sort of a deter formation, that there is a cooling of the sea surface temperature once we have a system. Okay? Because of course you remember it draws its energy.
You draw the energy from that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's a noticeable cooling of the sea surface temperature. Okay, but then again, after that pass, that quickly
Exactly.
that quickly
that
warms
is
up.
not- yeah.
Okay, it's not sustainable.
So you
that
can't
quickly.
say, well,
So you
oh,
can't-
so
okay.
because the thing is, what I'm thinking of, why I asked the question is because I'm thinking that as human beings, we tend to have a lot of myths that and concepts in our head that we came up with on our own. Sometimes nobody taught it, nobody taught it to us, but we just have this idea. And so I believe that a lot of people would just assume, hey, one
don't.
bad storm pass,
No,
so
don't think.
how could another one come? You know what I mean? So
So soon, or maybe just as
after, or
powerful.
yeah, that kind of thing is like, okay, maybe the weather or maybe the atmosphere needed, I don't know, a little break.
No.
So it got
No.
its break now. So
It's just luck and the good Lord being grateful to
gracious. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I hear you. So the whole point is that it definitely can happen, and you
It
just don't know.
definitely can
You
happen.
just don't know.
We
So you just
just
have to
don't know.
also, once we know entire season,
Once we
just
season, be on your
always
P's
be
and
in
Q's.
this. Yeah. Okay.
P's and Q's.
Definitely.
P's
Okay.
and Q's. Okay.
Interesting. Not necessarily encouraging, but at least it is what it is that we have to deal with. Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. So Met's functions and all of that as it relates to like this season, based on what you said there with this active prediction for an active season. How does Met flow and function with other agencies and NADMA and all of that? No.
Okay. Well, at this time of the year, we are all on our P's and Q's because we are in the season. Okay, and agencies like NAGMA, I will start with NAGMA, are busy, informing the nation and preparing the nation and so forth. Okay, we are part and parcel of that whole system. Okay. Our main role is, first of all, early warning.
Yes.
Okay, to tell the nation what is happening, or what is about to happen, what we can expect. Okay, and then and we will tell them, we will guide them as things progress. Okay, and as things progress, I'm talking about as the seasons progress on a daily basis, and especially if we are under some sort of threat. Okay, we'll do all the warnings daily, hourly, as needs be. Okay, and then our information is used to make decisions, planning decisions that would affect the nation.
Right.
Okay, there is it's a collaborative effort, and I know you would have folks from NAGMA in who will be able to talk better of the internal working of NAGMA and what they actually do. But we are also a part of the committee called the National Emergency Advisory Committee, okay, which is a part of NAGMA, and that is a committee that is made up of a number of general stakeholders, okay, and subcommittees like people who manage the shelters, people who are in charge of relief, people who are in charge of like communications, education, road clearance committee,
Yes,
all of
yes.
those sorts of
Everybody kicks
all of those sorts of committees. Okay, and anytime we are under some sort of threat, okay, our job is to advise on the pending condition, or warn on the pending conditions and what could be expected, and then that committee takes in the necessary decisions.
Right.
Okay, and of course at the end of all of that, we will give the all clear to say, well, okay, we expect conditions to improve by such and such time, and so forth. Okay, but before all of that is done, remember, our job as Met Office, we are constantly monitoring.
24 hours.
24 hours, 7 days a week, okay, 12 months a year, okay, constantly monitoring what's happening around us. Of course, we step it up a bit now at this time of the year.
Right.
Okay, so the first thing we do, the first sign we have to follow is any area of disturbed weather. Okay? And it normally comes in the form of tropical waves, okay, which come off the African coast. Okay? Okay, and it's a lot more than that, but we just for simplicity,
Yes,
they
yes.
come off the African coast, okay? And as they hit the Atlantic Ocean and they get the moisture, you start seeing convection. And when I say convection, I mean rainfall, thunderstorm activities occurring. Okay? Again, some more active than others because each one has his own personality.
Yes.
Okay, same shape, same form, but everybody different. Okay, and we monitor them. Now we have an area of concern, as we call it, the area of concern, and that goes from 45 degrees longitude west, okay, to 65 degrees longitude. Okay, so in other words, it goes from about 1,200 miles to the east of us to about 800 or so miles to the west of us.
Right.
Okay? And because the systems normally come from east to west, of course, we have more, we put
Yeah,
a bigger
more-
space
yes,
to the
on that
east.
side,
Okay.
yes.
Now, anytime we see an area of concern, we go into what we call our alert phase.
Right.
Okay. Now, there might be a tropical wave there, or maybe just some area of the storm where that we see could affect us in another 24 hours or so. we start making a call, say, hey, folks, we are looking at this area here. At the moment, it is moving towards the west at X and X miles an hour. Severe thunderstorm and rainfall events. So at this current location, at this current track, it could affect us within the next 36 or 48 hours.
Right.
Okay. So we sound that alarm, and different agencies start doing whatever they have to do. Okay. Now, is there potential for development? We will state that.
Right.
Okay. Can it become a tropical depression, a tropical storm by the time it reaches our shores? We would state that. Okay. And then the various entities will start doing whatever they have to do. Now, how do we do that? We first of all do it by releasing what we call severe weather bulletins.
Oh, okay.
Okay, where we give as much detail as we possibly can on what is happening with that particular system.
Right.
Okay, as I say again, its position, its movement, its direction, what is actually happening within the system, its potential for development, all of that. Okay, so we give as much details as we possibly can
Right.
for that. Okay? And we issue that 4 times a day.
Okay.
4 times a day. Okay. Now, with social media, and so a lot of people are now getting these sounds and messages. Okay. So now, in case there is a cause for development, or we see signs of development, and of course we do that from our own analysis, and we also take a lot of instructions or a lot of advice from the Hurricane Center in Miami, because they, of course, have much more resources, and you know, and they are the focal watch center for this area too. Okay, in discussions with them, okay, they would send out also bulletins on that particular system too.
Right.
Okay, warning us. But we take that bulletin, we do our own analysis too, and we come up with our own local bulletin. Because, for instance, if you happen to read a bulletin from the Hurricane Center, they might say a tropical depression or a area of disturbed weather or an active tropical wave 1,200 miles east of the Windward Islands.
That's very broad.
That's very broad, very broad.
Yeah.
You know. But of course, I mean, they are just doing it for guidance purposes, and of course, you know, the Americans, as long as it doesn't affect them, whether they're not too concerned.
Yeah.
But I sure they say no too concerned.
No, that's what you mean. Is that
Some
it's
they
not-
don't put so much
there's not-
emphasis
yeah,
on that.
there's not much emphasis
But it's
there.
different for us.
Of course.
Okay, so that's why we take the painstaking time and put out something for our own local use. Okay. Sometimes we get some slack from the public and say, well, we had that information an hour ago or so, but yes, but look at what you see on the internet and what we are giving you. Which one is more useful to you?
Yeah. What is more accurate and detailed
for
and
you.
designed for
Okay.
you? Yeah.
Okay, so we do that. Now, if there is again more cause for concern, the system moves closer. If there's development, of course, the nature of the message will change slightly, because of course you have to be thinking of greater action and a different type of action now if you're looking at development.
Yes.
Okay, and of course the various entities would be moving in different direction now, because if there is if there's a direct threat to us, well, then people have to start thinking of the necessary precautions and so forth. Okay, so these bulletins happen daily. Now, if the system develops into some sort of cyclone, when I say cyclone, I'm talking a baby cyclone, a tropical depression. Okay, then the Hurricane Center will start issuing advisories.
Right.
Advisories, where they will spend more time looking at the system and issue some more details for the system.
Right.
Okay. Now, of course, this is also transmitted to the local bodies. And again, if further development takes place, okay, becomes a storm,
Right.
I guess now more details are put into it. Okay. Now, and again, remember the details that go into the very basics of its position, its movement, direction, that is, its forward speed, okay? The strength of it, which is the strength of the winds, maximum sustained winds. Okay? And we look at the pressure. There are other things that are looked at. You look at its potential for landfall, especially if landfall is close by within a 24, 48 hour period. Okay. Its wind field and the areas it will probably affect, you know. And a host of other products. Of course, people are studying this thing daily, so they have a lot of information. But for the public, okay, for the public, this is the basic information that is given. Now, of course, all of this information is given to the local bodies, NAGMA and so forth, and at that time now they would have their meetings quite regularly, sometimes once or twice a day, okay, putting things in place and alerting the public of what is happening.
Right.
Okay? Now these advisories occur every 6 hours. Okay. Now, if it's close to land or threat to land, okay, they put them out every 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because people need to be in the loop a little bit more often. Okay, so when you hear them say, okay, all energy should be rushed to preserving life and property, you know it's right on your doorstep. Okay, and then we go into the various things, you know, the watch, tropical storm watch, okay, and tropical storm warnings of this hurricane watch, hurricane warning.
Right, because the warning is impending. It's right there.
Is impending.
The watch is just monitoring
and the
more
watch is,
closely.
yes, okay.
Right.
Okay. So it's our hope, as my hope, that by the time our watch is issued, okay, everybody in Grenada should have an idea of what to do. Because, as I always say, there is no way, no how anybody in the Caribbean, on the coastlines of Central America and the U.S. at this time of the year should be caught off guard. Off guard. We gone too far and too advanced. For that. Okay. So this is how we keep the whole. That is our part of the whole system, by warning you. First of all, this is going to happen, or this has the potential. We tell you what is happening, okay, and hopefully, as things progress, we don't get strike. But if we get a direct hit, we are there with the various other agencies. Directing, you know, we're not really directing, but being part of the conversation of what is happening, okay? Because the Met community also has been putting a lot of emphasis on impact. As we say, impact-based forecasting. I was wanting to tell you, okay, yes, we can expect heavy rainfall, strong winds, okay, but being a little bit more customer focused and thing, you know.
Of course.
A lot of emphasis is now going to tell you what is to expect, what you can expect. What 50-mile-an-hour wind
Do what
do to you.
to your
Okay,
property, to yourself.
and a lot of studies have, have been going into this over the years. So there's a much greater flow of information on what could happen to you. Okay, but again, anytime for me, and I'll tell you this, I am in Met, and once I hear wind over 40 miles an hour, I am concerned.
I hear you.
Because I can tell you that it doesn't matter how new your roof is. You can
40
lose
miles
your
an hour.
wind
Yeah.
40 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It just had to hit you at the right angle. And that is something you can't control.
Yeah, I know, right? You can't go and say you're holding it down.
You just can't control. Now, of course, there is, building guidelines and so forth, which should make it a little bit more resistant. Okay,
But the reality
is you just don't know. Okay, and many times you know, in a lot of cases where buildings are destroyed, they lose their roof, and so it's not half of it is the wind and the other half is the pressure. Because what happens is as the system comes closer, and the pressure, of course, falls. The pressure. But your house is like a box.
Yep.
Okay? So the pressure inside doesn't fall as low as the pressure outside.
Exactly.
So therefore you have high pressure inside and high pressure outside. And then it explodes. It explodes.
Yeah.
So when you see a house loses roof and you see the galvanized gone, but the rafters in place, okay, no, there's wind damage. But when you see all the rafters mash up and wall break and things, that's explosion. No, there's nothing you can do about that. Unless you build a bunker or something like that, you know what I mean? There's nothing you can do about that. Okay, so once I hear my 40 miles an hour wind, I am concerned. I put my things in place for my household.
I hear you. Yeah. Okay. We'll take a short break simply because there are two final questions that I want to ask. One about datering, and then the other one is another question that while you were talking, I remembered what you said the last time about the services that the Met Office offers, and the fact that you are at the airport, right? And that particular question that I believe that even now with COVID and all of that, and people now are traveling again, more so, I thought that would be really good for us to look at very briefly. We almost out of time. We have just a few more minutes, but I want us to deal with that. So we'll take a quick break, and we are going to be right back.
Amen.
All right.
You are my strength.
Right back. We have just a few more minutes in the program. Thank you very much for staying with us. I know it's a lot of heavy information this morning, and you feel maybe like if you're in a geography class, but that's good. That's good because we want to remain informed. And if perchance you just caught the program, well, you're catching just a little bit of it, but at least you can go back and you can listen again. And one of the things, of course, that Mr. Tamar said is that we are down for another active season. I keep repeating that because we need to bear it in mind. It's not a relax and just buy two packet of Cricks alone here. No, it's stock up and do what you know needs to be done. And it's not just Cricks alone, because that's not the only thing that you have to be concerned about, but it's about ensuring that all of the strategies that have to be put in place for most effective preparation that can be done. Of course, he will remind us about those things before we close the program. Two questions, as I said. One, sometimes we hear about these Hurricane Tracker and Hurricane Hunter devices and so forth that collect data. Do we have that?
Okay. No, I have to be careful with the we. You know.
When I say we, well,
No, the
I'm
Met
asking
community,
we
the Met
as
community.
in, wait, hold on. When I asked we, I was thinking Grenada.
No,
I'm
no,
thinking
no.
But then if we don't,
So-
you know, how close, you know, what is the closest we have? Do
Okay,
we do we benefit from that at all? That kind of
Okay,
thing.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now, the information and the data for any system and so forth is collected by the use of various ways. One, the earliest stages is satellite imagery. Okay, and there's a whole fleet of weather satellite orbiting over Earth. Okay, and they have they collect data on the particular systems.
Okay.
Okay, they can collect. You can see the cloud formation, the cloud movement. You can get rainfall data. You can get wind data. So forth. Okay, and that is the premier and first source of collecting data. Okay?
Right.
And of course, and we get this information from the U.S. from the U.S. agencies.
Okay.
Okay. Now, once a system comes closer to land, okay, in the Caribbean, we have a radar network, a weather radar network, so we can actually see the rainfall distribution and get a more accurate sense of the rainfall intensity.
Right.
Okay. Now, radar, unfortunately, have a very short range. Okay. Not as a radar as satellite. So
Right.
it has to be closer enough to land.
To be
okay.
able, right. Okay.
Okay. Now, when a system looks as though it has potential to develop, okay, the Hurricane Center sends in the aircraft.
Okay.
Okay, so the aircrafts are based in Miami. Okay. Normally, if the system is down our side, because that's the Eastern Caribbean or so forth, the aircraft will come to Barbados
Okay.
because it's sort of like a regional hub. Okay. And then they will fly out from there to investigate the system.
Okay.
Okay, they do that maybe about twice a day.
Okay.
Okay, flying around the system, going into the system, okay, collecting data, wind
Okay.
speed data, everything they
Everything,
can.
and it's more, and it's right
process.
in there. But it's
right
not
in
like
there.
if a Met Office, let's say Grenada's Met Office or
No, it's not Grenada.
Guyana's
No,
Met
no,
Office,
no,
nobody
no,
could
no.
go and call them and tell them come in and check
No,
that
no,
for
no,
you. It's
no.
not like
No,
that.
no.
Right.
No, once the system has potential for development, okay, they send in
They
their
will send you. Okay.
aircraft. Normally after the aircraft does its investigation, you might hear them say, well, after the reconnaissance have been done, okay, we are now upgrading system tropical depression into
Okay.
into tropical storm, or tropical storm into hurricane. Okay, or if there's been no upgrade, they just give a complete diagnosis of what is happening
Okay.
there, wind speed, direction, the whole works.
Right.
The whole works.
Yeah.
The whole
It's
works.
just that it's being given now, not just from that overview,
Not
but
only,
from
but
the inside.
from inside.
Okay. All right.
I'm hoping to make that trip one day too. I want to go in there.
Yeah, that would be great.
That would be great.
But anyway, that might make the program too long, so let me leave that question alone. I was going to ask, how do you qualify? But let's leave that alone. The next question, because I said we're already close out of time, and I really want you to just, remind us, the public, as to, how to prepare. But I was saying that now that travel is, I wouldn't say, well, we know it's not back the same, but at least we know that there's more travel after COVID, after the pandemic. Well, I shouldn't say after, but you understand what I mean,
Yes,
after
yeah.
the shutdown. At which point will the Met Office advise, for example, and say that a flight is cancelled because of, a weather system or so forth? Is it that it has to read? Because I've traveled and my goodness, the plane doing this and you're like, oh my God, and you're praying harder. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So at which point would you cancel a flight?
Okay, well, first of all, the Met Office does not cancel a flight per se.
Good.
Okay, that's the job of the individual airline.
Okay.
Okay, now what we do is that we advise the airlines of the pending conditions. Okay.
Right.
What is happening now? They will have their own technical team looking at it.
Of course.
Okay. They know the kind of aircraft they have, what kind of stress the aircraft
Can take.
can take. Okay, and they would make that decision.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the only thing that we do in terms of cancellation, we can close our airport.
Right.
Okay. Okay. No. And that will happen when conditions reach our what we call minimum operating maxima. Okay. Now, for every aerodrome, okay, there are certain thresholds that once they have reached, you cease operation.
Right.
Okay. Now, we have some mountains just about 10 kilometers. The Granatan Hill is just about 10
Right
kilometers.
there,
Okay.
yes.
Move from the airport in a straight line. Okay. Now, once we can see those mountains, and once that visibility is done, okay, we have to start warning. Okay.
Okay.
We have to start warning. Okay. And when we reach down to 4 kilometers, okay, well then
That's it.
we say no more operations.
Okay.
Okay, we say no more operations. Okay, unless maybe an aircraft is maybe very close to us and it doesn't have enough fuel to turn
Right.
around or something, but then you have to have.
You have to do that. Yeah.
Okay, but there are different thresholds that you reach. Okay, where you say
That's it.
close.
Right.
We are closed until conditions
Better.
improve.
suited.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Every aerodrome has that
Will do
condition
that.
because things are different in
Of course.
every
Yeah,
place.
definitely. Yeah.
So that is all part of what is worked out for your particular aerodrome, and then we call it there.
Okay.
And again, that is a decision made together with air traffic services,
Yeah.
so and
Of
everything,
course, the whole right.
and then
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, great. So we don't have to worry about, oh my God, you can, sometimes you have what is called bad weather. And I've heard, because I travel, pretty often, you would hear people saying things like, oh my God, the weather bad, and then people and them leave the plane, let it fly, and all the, you know what I mean? You hear all these comments, and I'm like, I'm thinking that people know what they're doing.
Yeah,
but
know.
sometimes
Yeah,
you
they know
just
they
can't put your mouth because you're certainly not the expert. So I really just needed to ask that question. All right. Last time your parting words had to do with people and the internet and how the social media can become even more of a problem than a help. Whatever are your parting words for us for this time, especially based on the season that we are in and that we, knowing the possible action of the season. What do you have to tell us?
Okay. Well, first of all, I will start off from where we left off the last time by telling the people, please listen to the official source of information. Okay. So, unfortunately, as we said last time, social media many times have it wrong, and people, I guess, just trying to be helpful and trying to spread news, but a lot of the information is sometimes incorrect, and they cause a lot of unnecessary due stress and public panic. Okay. We encourage people to listen to the radio stations. The media houses are fed with information very often, a couple of times a day, 4-6 times a day. Sometimes we go live with them on interviews and also on all this sort of thing. So the media houses are very much abreast of what's happening. Yeah? So you listen to them. Please try not to call at the Met Office, okay, because I can tell you that is one place where the phone rings continuously and everybody wants their own personal briefing.
And want the same, but it's getting the same information.
The same
that
information.
You're gonna get. Yeah.
Okay. I missed your weather report this morning. You could tell me what's happening?
Are you serious?
And they want to go over everything, and you want,
No, for real, somebody call them in office for personal update or stop.
Every 5 minutes, yes.
And of course, you cannot say when you're not answering the phone because you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know who's calling at time. So please just try and listen to your radio rather than calling us, okay?
Right.
Because we lose valuable time talking to you. I mean, we want to we want to inform you, but at the same time, you know,
Use it proper channel.
yes, listen to your local radio station. That is not time to be entertaining yourself on the net and so, but tune into a radio station, and the radio station will keep you up to date, okay? Because that's one thing. We also have to be, you know, counselors, because people are terrified and people calling and asking you all sorts of questions. If they should leave the house, they live here, you think it would be bad? I live in Belmont, or I live in Grenville, you think it would be bad in Grenville? And I'll go,
Really?
I say, well, we can't tell you all of this information. You know? But I mean, I can
And I mean,
understand
you
how
can understand.
people.
Look, I'm laughing
how
not
Trump-
because I'm saying that people are foolish, not at all.
Yeah,
but
people
I
are
understand the
traumatic,
point
okay?
exactly. But at the
people
same
went through
time, the
traumatic
Met
events,
Office
yes.
is just not the best place
Not the best place.
to get that information
Yes,
from.
yes,
Not that they don't know, but it has to be. I mean, certain things you will have to make the
Yes,
decision based on what NADMA now is going to put out.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You know, so please try and avoid calling us. Listen to your local radio station. Also, please bear in mind too that I made a point earlier, and said, this is the season. 'Tis the season. We live in the tropics. We live in this part of the world. There is absolutely nothing we can do to avoid these things from happening.
Yeah.
Okay, every climatic region in the world has a
Has its own,
severe
yeah.
weather challenges. Okay, whether you live at the poles, whether you live in a desert,
they
there
have
is
a
always
different
there
one,
is
yeah.
always something there. Okay, blizzards, sandstorms, whatever. No matter where you live. Okay, okay, and life goes on before, during, and after. Same of us. Every set of peoples have to know what to expect in their neck of the woods and how to react to it and how to live through it. And we, in our region, we have this hurricane season from June to November, okay? And we know we can expect these adverse weather conditions occurring during this time. We just have to live with it, and by now everybody should know what to do when the alarm is struck. 24 hours, 36 hours notice is enough time, or should be enough time by now, okay, for people to get the act together, move to safety, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Food up gas, that, you know, because, and that is the thing. And again, even if you think you honestly cannot remember what to do, well, here what? NADMA has its website, and everybody like the internet now anyway, and they like all of the, you can just go on, what do I do in preparation for a hurricane? You'll certainly get what you need, there. You'll get the basics there. So be guided by those things that we have shared with you. Mr. Tamar, thank you very, very, very much again. It was and is a pleasure. So
Same here.
thank you very much for gracing us. And as I keep saying, so soon after. So we've been able to, you know, really put the programs, you know, just together like that. And I really felt like I went back to school. And I really appreciate that, because there are a lot of misconceptions that you certainly cleared up. Thank you so much again, and may God strengthen you and your team as you go through all that need, because I'm sure the kind of pressure, we can't sit and imagine it. We can't. We just have to deal with our families and maybe our other, you know, but you have a whole nation in your hand, and we really thank you for your service, and just be strengthened to continue to do the work that you are doing.
Okay. Well, thank you for the opportunity once again. It's something that we would like to do and like to continue doing. Okay, so thanks for the opportunity to do so.
All right, great. So, listeners and viewers, thank you for joining us. Have yourself a great rest of your day, and of course, a great weekend. God bless you. Stay safe and get yourself prepared. If you have not begun to do so, get yourself prepared for this active hurricane season. God bless you and goodbye.
You are my strength, strength like no other, strength